How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Forever Arsenal podcast. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. Cameras on today. Don't worry, people. None of them comments in the comment section. You've given people some ideas, and let's not get into that today. But hit that like button. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Make sure you're subscribed. Individual channel. Show some love. Whisper it loudly. Lee Judges TV, Gooniverse, and Turkish LD. And you're going to see, me without a hat. That's an exclusive on my channel, Bomber. Fabrizio didn't even call it, so go over there if you haven't already. But let's get into it. No, I just want to say thank you, lads, because you let me do the show the other day with the camera off, and I know there was a lot of disrepute in the comment section, but I just wanted to reach out before anyone else got a chance to speak and say wholeheartedly, I appreciate you letting me do the show like that. But Lee, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just, I think like the Fourever community have spoken. I've spoken to about 3 or 4 people over that, and big up to the guys that I met on Friday and at the game yesterday. And they've just said, you, James and Jordan are too nice. So I went, what are you on about? I said, you've just let that bloke get away with not having his camera on, like,
that bloke.
That bloke.
And I actually thought, like, there's reasons for it, but like, nah, I make them right. Like, I think points should be deducted. You're there without your camera. I know you had an excuse, which we all kept quiet, by the way.
I didn't ask you to, but you did.
No, because you know what? I think we're all nice guys.
Yeah, decent.
But the true thing is now there's only one ball bloke on the panel. One's receding and the other one's got a full set now. That's what I've just done. It's just unreal, like,
Hey, life-changing surgery, isn't it? People are trying to book me points.
Well, I don't know. I think it should be put on the community. Like, that what I've seen, the fan base are not happy with you. They want points deducted. I never even thought about it. I'm going to be really, I don't know how the other 2 guys feel about this, but I never even thought about it.
Not jump the gun, guys, but on the comments here, I'm just seeing it's a Turkish with no camera on must be docked points, surely. Imagine if Lee had done that. He'd have got pelters.
Thank you very much. That's all I'm saying, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think
there's some mornings I wish Lee...
Consistency. That's all we want.
Some mornings I wish Lee done it without a camera.
This is it. Consistency. This is what we want. You know what I mean? Like, you're quick enough to dock points for other people. And listen, I'm going to be honest on this one. I didn't think about a points deduction, but seeing the comments and people on the streets are actually saying this, like, I honestly don't think you're as popular as you think you are. Like, I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, I mean,
I want to just bring that comment back up. I'd actually wish Lee did turn his camera off some of these morning shows, because it's a sight to see. I'm telling you, I'd actually let him wholeheartedly some mornings turn the camera off for the whole thing. But judging a book by its cover, people don't know the work I put behind these scenes. People don't know the work. When Lee's upset with Jordan, when James is upset with Lee, I have to make sure behind the scenes everything is calm, cool. And it was a choice of me without a camera or someone else with a camera. And the common consensus amongst the AFTV production was you without the camera makes sense. So I went through the relevant authorities, Lee, and it came out that that was the best option. So we move.
Well, it's all about you, isn't it? Like, it's Turkish rules, and that's it. Like, I think we live in a democratic country, and you can have, do
we? I think again, mate. Think again. That sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds good. It sounds.
I see his little sidekick ain't saying too much, Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, like,
But James is the most honourable man on this panel. That's why I include myself in that.
Yeah, I don't really care. So
there you go.
James got a correct score. He doesn't give a shit what you lot are talking about.
I've got my 3 points. Life's good.
Oh yeah, you little scumbag. Forgot about that.
And I know the Lee wanted 1-0. That's the worst bit.
Yeah, I did say 1-0, didn't I? So
he heard it and went, "Oh, that's what you want."
Do you know what? It's a really good point, because I can't remember the 2 guys that come up to me on Friday and they said, "Lee, can we have a word?" And I thought, well, and they went, "Why do you not go for your predicted score? This is why you're bottom of the league. You just go with what you want, like, you know what I mean? Don't worry about the others." And and they've still given me. And in the end, I'm going, yeah. So from now on, I'm not worried about what. Just go for what I want. I'm going to take their advice because I would have gone 1-0. I would have bagged myself a couple of points. And at the end of the day, it's true what they were saying. I would have bagged it over 2 of you. You know what I mean? Not just the one. So when I'm looking to go, I can't go 1-0. I'm changing my tactics now. The lads
I told you that ages ago. I don't know
Yeah,
why you
but
guys don't like duplicate. Go with your score.
Yeah, I am going to do it now. Like, you know, with the bloke with no star, I'm not going to listen to. I have to be honest. You know what I mean? But like,
Oh, chums 1 minute and then shots the next.
It's all falling apart. It's all falling apart.
Oh mate, let's get into it because we're going to bring up the prediction table later, obviously, people. But yeah, heads up, James did get the correct score, which has made it interesting. It looks like there's 2 races: a race for the title and a race for not finishing bottom, between me and the judges at this moment in time. So yeah, I think me and Lee are playing a separate game. But yeah, 3 points in the bag. Wasn't in the smoothest of fashions, and that's not entirely in our hands considering the circumstances throughout the game. But the main thing is we've taken 3 points from it, and maybe that bit of adversity and having to fight against it, and another poor refereeing decision might galvanize the team a bit more. I know the performance itself still leaves much more questions than answers, but to get out of a away trip to a team like Wolves, who, okay, they haven't had the best of seasons, but they've got quality, and we're going in without an Odegaard and Saka. Imagine at the beginning of the season, we said we'll go into a game without Odegaard and Saka, what we would have thought. The 3 points was the most important thing. Lee, as always, let's start with you. You was there. Interested to hear this one. Maybe not so much about the feeling, the atmosphere going into the game, because away Arsenal fans always, keep it 100, 10 out of 10. But when that red card was shown, what was the mood like in the stadium? Did you know yourself it wasn't a red card then, or was you?
Well, you could tell it weren't a red card. Like, we was lucky we was in a box yesterday, and we see it on TV as well. So, but do you know what I felt it was? It was just anger. I think, like, what I mean, there was a lot of angry fans in there at half time. And I think that the one thing that comes out, I don't know if we win that game, guys, really, if we don't get that player sent off, if because I didn't think we was playing that well. Again, missed chances. It's the same sort of thing. But I think that it's just everybody in the whole state who's connected with Arsenal yesterday, when we've got to win this game now. This cannot continue. They cannot. This referee cannot continue to keep doing what he's doing. I've never seen a red card for anything like that. It's an absolute scandalous decision. I've not come out of a game and I've not gone to on social media or on TV, and everybody turning around and saying it's not a sending off. Wolves fans yesterday, and big up to them. Everyone that I see come out and said, like, oh, there's never a penalty. It's ruined the game, done this, done that. And if this doesn't get sorted out now, if that isn't a highlight for Arsenal, should never have that referee again now. I mean that. I know people go, oh, you can't do that. Alex Ferguson used to say it. I'm not having that referee. Arsenal Football Club have to refuse to have him refereeing Arsenal games from now on, because it's not coincidence now. But for me, I think Mike Oliver wins us that game yesterday, because I think we was looking maybe for a draw, looking at a draw. It didn't really look like we was going to win the game. Havertz missed a couple of really good opportunities. But other than that, I didn't really see us carving them open. But second half, I thought that the players come out. I don't know if you see it, come out about a minute early. They went right by the Arsenal fans, and it was like everybody was together. Everybody was angry. Everybody wanted this. And I think they showed yesterday, we ain't going to be cheated again. Whatever happens in this season, we are not going to be cheated. And that referee is not going to ruin it for us. And I think the way we went out in the second half, I've got nothing but admiration for the players and manager, everybody connected with Arsenal, the fans, because the fans went really well for it. They were really giving it everything. And then, I don't know if there was a sense when they got their player sent off, which, by the way, if you have a look at the two tackle, Harry's just give that as a yellow card, makes that red card even worse.
Yeah.
even worse. It shows him up even more as a dirty cheat, and everything you want to say about him. There's nothing you can say. You can turn around and say he's a cheat. You can say he's corrupt. You can say whatever you want because it justifies it. Everything when he doesn't give the red card for that last chance, because it's 100 times worse than what Miles Lewis-Skelly does. Anyway, from that moment on, then there was another thing. Right, we are now going to go and win this game. I don't know if you felt that, but once that's set, I always felt that Arsenal were going to win the game then. And what they did was fantastic after that, So big up to the fans, big up to the players, big up to the manager, because the manager got that decision spot on. There were a lot of people going, "Oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to go negative or whatever?" He went defensive, but it was still positive, if that makes sense. It was still the way we played. I just thought it was a brilliant performance from that sending off, and that's what we needed. We needed that yesterday, because we could have easily have come in today and felt sorry for ourselves and hid behind that sending off, and going, "Oh, look at what's happening," and all that. But we didn't. And I'll tell you what, now it needs to be highlighted more what that referee is, because we've won the game. You know what I mean? No one can turn around and say we're bitter and whatever. I'm delighted that he sent him off now, because of it made us win the game. But don't think you're getting away with what you are. He's corrupt. He's a cheat. People dare say he's the best referee in the league. If he's the best referee in the league, what is he doing with decisions like this? And I have to say, I'm going to say one thing before I finish here. Referees can make mistakes, right? They've been making mistakes for the while the football's been going on. And one of the reasons that VAR is put in is to help them by making those mistakes. What it's doing is making it, highlighting that it's more corrupt than it's ever been, because at the end of the day, he might have, for whatever reason, made a mistake there and just genuinely think that he has, then VAR get him out of it. But they didn't. And I think that's even worse.
They've always got lines as well. It's not a clear and obvious error from the ref, so we're not going to overturn it, which then makes me ask why the ref would make such a bold decision for such a act that you see 3, 4, 5 times a game, from the top level professional football down to Sunday, Saturday league. Why would you make such a rash decision when he cuts across him? Your first look at that, it's a yellow card. Even Lewis-Skelly walked away. So Oliver's got a lot to answer for. But the VAR itself, the quote that come out of both, because I watched it live, the initial contact was above the ankle, so deemed serious foul play. That was for Lewis-Skelly. And for Gomez, yellow correct, as excessive force not used. Are these people actually stupid? They're actually literally just saying things now, because Gomez's one was by far more excessive force. It was actually bang on rather than cutting across. And they justified both in such contradictory ways that I always say, there's, unless fans want to get together with this and start getting together. Maybe yesterday was that point, because you are right. I'm seeing United fans, Wolves fans, Chelsea fans, City fans, all saying the same thing. How can that be? And I like Arteta's response as well after. I don't know what the club are going to do, but the FA should come out and say, yeah, we're overturning that without an appeal, because it was that much of an outrageous decision. Now, if they don't, and it bleeds into Man City, and we do lose a Lewis-Skelly from Man City, I know it looks nice, CALAFIORI comes in, but that could still have an impact on us moving forward. So they need to do some. I'm tired of talking about these refs. I mean, Lee, we all are. But something needs to be done at some point.
The point also, Turkish, which people don't, which you might think I'm wrong, and conspiracy theories and all that. This is a bloke that's been paid by Manchester City to go out on holiday, do holidays and refereeing and all that. Who's our next game against? And who's he banned against? They're the things that now are coming out, have got to come out and got to be asked. Why are you not sending off that player for that sending off when you see that? That's all I'm saying. So the conspiracy people are going to come onto it. Our next game is Manchester City.
Yeah. Jordan, you're someone who normally takes the attention away from these kind of moments, but surely this one here is
I disagree. It's a clear red. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Lee was about to go off,
Camera's coming up. I'm getting a cab round to your house.
It's not a red. It's not a red card. It's a blatant yellow card. It's a clear yellow card. I don't subscribe to the idea that there's corruption. I just think it's incompetence. I just think he's not very good. I think he's a poor referee. As you said, I don't like discussing referees and piling in too much because they do make mistakes, and I accept that mistakes will be made in football matches, sometimes against my team. But this is more than mistakes. This is incompetence. This is you're just not very good at your job. You're not very good at what you're supposed to be doing. My only two kind of points on this would be because I don't like to try and be emotional about these sorts of things. I like to look at it kind of analytically. So be balanced, right? My first thinking was, all right, this seems like a wild decision for me, but let me put myself in the head of Michael Oliver and see what maybe he has seen, right? Because I don't think he's corrupt. I don't think but let's see what he saw. If you look at it slowly, Lewis Kelly does make contact with the middle part of the shin before he makes full contact with above the ankle. So where the main contact is not high, but the initial part, if you look at it really closely, there is contact on the lower part of the shin. But that still, for me, doesn't constitute a red card. And the second thing for me is I don't like to look at these decisions and decide, oh, I would not have given that. I would look at the rules. And according to their own rules, it doesn't meet the criteria of a red card. So forget emotion, forget what we think is a red or what isn't a red. We can discuss what's a red. That's opinions. Look at the actual laws. According to their own laws, it doesn't meet the criteria of a red card. So it's just incompetence on so many levels. And another thing, you guys know me, I hate cheap Sky Sports cliches. One thing I often hear from football fans, which I heard a lot overnight from Arsenal fans, is line, oh, the referee ruined the spectacle. I'm like, my G, it's not the referee's job to make it a spectacle. The referee's job is to enforce the law. So when I hear people say, oh, the referee ruined the game, it's not the ref. Fans can ruin the game. Players can ruin the game. Managers can ruin the game. Commentators can ruin a match. The referee can't ruin a game. Just do your job properly. But this idea, the referee's job is to keep 22 players on the pitch. No, it's not his job to do that. It's his job to enforce the law. On this occasion, he didn't enforce the law. So my kind of conclusion is,
So
I don't think it's a red card.
So he ruined the game.
No, but when people say that, they say that with the implication that the referee's job is to somehow make the game a spectacle, keep it a spectacle, keep it entertaining. You ruin the game because you're not. No. It's not his job to ruin or not ruin the game. It's his job to do his job. It's to do your job. On this occasion, he didn't do his job properly. So I don't think it's a red card. The implications, if it's a 3-game ban for us, I think are significant. I think you want Lewis Kelly in that squad for the Man City game, even if he's not starting. So, but before I defer to James, I agree with you and Lee in as far as I think the response from the guys was amazing, because I think the game was looking like a draw. It was looking like it was going to be a draw, and I think that kind of kills us, especially as Liverpool won their game so convincingly. So for the boys to kind of galvanize, not sulk, not complain, and decide we are not leaving here without 3 points, I think says a lot about the guys on that particular day. So big up the boys, but yeah, it's a shocker from the referee.
James, I mean, it's not the first time we're talking about this subject, so you can by all means take it away from that moment, because we have won the game. But if you want to touch in on it, I mean, the floor's yours. Like, what were you focusing on from that game?
Well, just on the red quick, when I was on my way on my night out last night, I did watch a really slow motion version of the tackle. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've had my bit to say on Howard Webb, the PGMOL, Michael Oliver. Watching that slow motion version, I did actually think, oh, this might have been a worse tackle than I realised. And then I went on the Sky Sports highlights and I watched it, quicker, and I burst out laughing. It's never red. Because I think when you really slow things down, a foot moving down because it's gravity, because that's how a foot moves, can look like a stud down the back or whatever. But the reason I say this is because I hadn't seen that angle when we were on the watch along. but you cannot judge things on slow motion. Even then, I don't think it's a red. I'm just saying it looked a little bit more cynical when you watch it in really
slowing
slow
down adds
motion.
dramatic effect, isn't it?
What's that?
That's what the slowing down anything adds a dramatic effect.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Yeah, it really dramatizes the tackle and the action. But you watch it not even at full speed, just not as slow motion, and it just, you're right. It's just a look. It's a cynical foul. And you know what's funny is that I've been saying for a long time that we should have sin bins in football, and that players that don't make any attempt to win the ball in a tackle should do 10 minutes off the pitch. I'm fine with that rule.
Should it be a red, James? Like, I know it's not, but going forward, if you were in charge, you should, because just being able to kick a player with no intent of getting the ball, that is really, really bad. Would you going forward say, if a football player kicks or trips a player with no intention of winning the football, it's a red? Would you be okay with that rule?
I think there's a conversation there. Yeah, I think there's a conversation there. Do you remember the Bruno Fernandes one that was overturned? The Tottenham red card. I was really surprised that I was overturned, because even though I don't think he was ever really going to hurt him, even though I think he kind of slipped a little bit, it was just a kick. It was just a flick of the foot, like into, a high part of the player. Like it was never winning the ball. It was just a petulant kind of, not kick out, but you know what I mean. So I've got no problem. Like, there's a world in which Doherty could get quite hurt from that. I mean, people might laugh at me. I mean, deadly serious. So yeah, I think there's a world in which sin bins come in and you do 10 minutes off the pitch for just kick out. But that's not the game. That's never been the game. It's a cynical foul. It's a trip, and it's been a yellow card forever. That's always been the case, except for once when Granit Xhaka did it against Swansea. I think you might remember. Do you remember that? Yeah. Although again, that Xhaka one was again pretty cynical, but it was on the touchline, it was on the halfway line. It's never been a red, but it's twice been a red for Arsenal. Michael Oliver, I'm going to say now, and I have to say it's taken me a really long time to get to this, because I've always used the Jordan line that I don't believe in corruption, and I don't. I don't. He doesn't referee us fairly, guys. I don't believe he does. I don't believe he referees us unbiasedly and totally. No, maybe not unbiased is the word, but completely fairly. I feel like he doesn't like us. I feel like he gives us worse decisions. Sorry, I do. I feel that way. I can't look at the Martinelli double yellow card against Wolves. I can't look at the Trossard second yellow against Man City. I can't look at the Kovacic non-red card twice against us last season, and then look at yesterday's decision and feel like he doesn't want to make controversial decisions against us.
Spot on, James.
Sorry, I can't not feel that way anymore.
There's too much history now to it. You've just said the Kovacic one. Look at that last season. Everything that he sent Miles Lewis Skelly off for, he didn't in that one, and it was a second yellow. I think it was one on Odegaard and one on Rice, wasn't it? Like, both sending offs if you do what you do in that game, but he chooses not to. There's too many controversial decisions for him, the double yellow we was talking about. Have you ever seen that again on Martinelli? Funny enough, at Wolves again, but there's too much now history and there's too much evidence. And I agree with you. He's not corrupt. He's not taking bribes and all that, but he just doesn't like us and will make controversial decisions. I don't want him ever refereeing Arsenal again. I think I don't. Lee, I'm sorry.
It's not Lee. It's not so much the amount of decisions that he's called against us. It's not the quantity. It's the type of errors. These are big things that. If the referee was constantly making poor decisions against, let's say, any one team, right? Then you're like, there's a long list of errors you're making against one team. That's bad. But it's the quality of errors that he's making. These are big, quite obvious calls that he's making that always seem to go against us. I don't think he's got an agenda against us. Maybe it's more what James just said. Maybe he just doesn't like Arsenal rather than it actually being corruption. I don't think he's been paid. I don't believe in that.
No,
but there's something going on here, because there's 4, 5, 6, 7 times now over 5 years he's making big errors against one football team. The reason why I don't think it's corruption as well is because this happened in a game against a football team who I would argue have had even worse decisions in the last 2 or 3 years against them than Arsenal. Wolves have had some real shockers in the last couple of seasons. So I don't think it's an anti-Arsenal thing. I just think it's an incompetence thing.
And do you know what, James? Sorry, Jordan, that's a great point, because that's why I've got to big up the Wolves fans. At the end of the day, they could have walked out there and turned around and said, you know, we've had a lot. It was one for us or whatever. They never did yesterday. There's poor decisions that they've been on to. Every one of them yesterday was, no, that's not right. It wasn't right. It was, you know. So big up to Wolves fans for that, because they could have turned on the other one and said, you know what, we've had them go against us. It's about time. They never did. Not one of them turned around and did that. They all turned around and said, nah, it's not right. And going back to that Bruno Fernandes one, you know, that should have been overturned. It was overturned by later on in the field, but it's still, I know children don't like saying ruin the game. It does ruin the game, because the game changes from that point of view, like, you know, and it does. And unfortunately, I don't know if the game was ruined yesterday because I think because Arsenal come out and went for it, like, you know what I mean? And listen, I think you look at the game against Bournemouth, we didn't do that, you know, so that's why I'm pleased with the team. I felt we was a little bit different in that game. But even the game against Bournemouth, you know, the referee probably sides with us. It's not a clear and obvious error. If you're going on the format of what they've done and what they're saying, the game against Bournemouth, when Saliba gets sent off, is not clear and obvious, but they get involved.
Yeah.
And so they're saying where we can't get involved in one reason, and they're getting involved in another. You know, they got involved with the Declan Rice one. We know that, like, you know. But they just make up their rules as they go on. It's ruining football. That yesterday just ruins, you know, if Arsenal lose that game, there was a few fans at half time, and I don't know if they're being emotional when they're saying that. They're saying, that's it, I'm done with this. I'm not coming home. I'm not spending my money and my day and wasting my time and seeing decisions like this all the time, you know what I mean? So it was very important that Arsenal won that game yesterday, for a lot of reasons.
Do you know how much they've impacted the game, referees? I don't think people understand. You know, I think the biggest factor of change in football over the last 10, 15 years can be a large percentage can be attributed to referees, whether that's rule making or whether that's the implementation of the rules. Even us suggesting here, I think Jordan suggested it to James, what happens with those type of tackles moving forward? I'll tell you what happens. Absolutely nothing. That's a tackle that we used to call taking one for the team because it's a yellow card. That's a tackle that historically in football exists from the top level to the grassroots level of sport. Just because it looks a bit, you know, tasty, or it looks a bit, so what? Because at the same time, I look at the other side of the pitch, and I remember when Perez was first coming through on the scene, Drogba was in the Premier League. These two players used to get ripped quite a bit for diving, right? Well, how comes all these rules now and everything in place now leads to more players diving, more players being more dramatic? But that's okay, because that's the way their rules have made football. But back then it wasn't okay. Back then that was a disgrace to football. Look how much they've changed the game for us to suggest that now a take one for the team foul is more than a yellow card. Nah, I get why the question's there, but it's because of the incompetence of these lot. I think referee camp needs to be like army camp. I'm sorry, or ex-footballers need to be coaching them, and ex-footballers, there's a unit of them that says that referee's ready, because these men don't know football. They don't know what it's like to be brushed by a shoulder on the pitch. So they're looking at every single detail. And like I said, when you slow things down, it's dramatic effect.
Yeah, and
one second, if I pick the bottle up like that, if I'm going,
red card,
and you zoom in and you can see it's dramatic effect. All I'm doing is drinking a bottle of water.
Yeah, you're right.
So
they shouldn't make decisions by slowing it down, should they?
Point well made.
Yeah,
Point well made. They shouldn't make these decisions by that.
But it's them as well. It's them. Like it's just, come on, man. Michael Oliver, do you think any part of his life he spent on the football pitch or at any decent level? And if he did, what do you think that Michael Oliver getting barged in a 50-50, he'd go flying and probably think it's a foul? You can just tell looking at him. So how can he manage a game? Because referees manage games. That's what they do. They manage the game. I don't. Pierluigi Collina was a. You cannot mess with that guy. You cannot mess with that guy. All of our refs, you look at them and you think, oh, slap them about. They've just got power trip. They've got a badge like a sheriff's badge in there. Don't touch me. Don't shout at me. Don't surround me. But Collina didn't need to have that. He was the authority, and I'm not saying he's the only one. But now you got dweebs with badges. Come on, man, stop that.
No, I think because we probably should be on to the game and the preview because I think referee. But my last point on this would be that my thing is, if you're the PGMOL, surely you're thinking to yourself, you've been involved, Michael, in quite a lot of high-profile decisions that have caused a lot of anger against a raft. It's not just us. There's a lot of football fans across the different teams that are all pissed off with your decision making. Now, some of those calls may actually be right, and the fan base is just a bit salty because it went against them, right? But there's a lot in there that are questionable. Why don't we just pull you out for a week or two, have a chat with you? Look, is something going on here in terms of, do we need to do some retraining? Because something's not going well here. Like in any form of work, if you constantly are under scrutiny for decisions you're making, at some point your boss calls you in and says, let's have a chat. I'm not firing you. I'm not sacking you. I'm not calling you out. Let's just have a chat because something's not quite working here. But it feels like they just churn him out again and again and again. He'll be out next weekend. I don't know if he's doing the Man City Arsenal game next weekend, but he'll be doing another game. And I just think at some point the authority have to look at themselves and think, hang on a minute. Do we need to have a chat with Michael Oliver here or another referee that's constantly in the limelight and just try and work out, actually, are these calls correct? The fan base are just pissed off, or are you making lots of big errors? And if so, let's work on how we can make these errors less, because this can't carry on like this. And I'm someone I defend referees. I back referees. I think they get a hard time. But when it's the same guy making high profile calls constantly, even if it's not my team, at some point you've got to be like, yo, a chat needs to be had. A chat needs to be had at some point.
He wanted to give that red card. Sorry, I don't think how you can watch. I don't see how anyone can watch that, as in the referee's position, and think, and think, yeah, let me just give a red card here, knowing full well that you can give the yellow, and you've got three blokes somewhere in some nonsense office, who can all step in and go, you've got this wrong. It's a red card. Go look at the monitor. You might have to send him off. You've got that safety blanket there. Why? I don't know why he wants to do this to himself. I don't know why. Just say, same with the Saliba penalty at Brighton. I just will not be convinced that these people saw it live and genuinely didn't want to give those decisions. Just go with what it most likely is, not a penalty, not a red card. VAR can step in if you've got it wrong. It's just extraordinary that live these referees look to those and goes, yeah, I want to give that decision.
Not clear
I honestly think, James, he's got to come out and say why he give it. Why, I mean, there's no way.
I don't want to hear from him. I used to think.
No, I get that. But there's no way that you can hide away from this fact. They've got to come out today and say it was wrong. I mean, the Bruno Fernandes one was wrong, and they come out and they have to come out. And I'll tell you what, I don't know where, where does this come around? Where has he got this? Oh, he's the best referee. Where has he got this from? Where's this come from? Like, oh, but he's our best referee. Oh, let's give him a pass. He's best. He is not the best referee that we've got. He's one of the worst.
To be fair, who is good?
Well, yeah, exactly that, James. And none of them are good. That's why we got VAR, because none of them are good.
VAR's bad.
None of them are good, and he's the worst. I agree with that. I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, we have spent 30 plus on the refs, and I think it was necessary, because eventually a conversation, these things do come to a head. But at the same time, we took the 3 points, so I guess it's only right to talk a bit about that. I know Girona are coming up next as well. There isn't much on the line for us, so I guess the preview side of that won't be too extensive. But on the Wolves game, I think you have to credit the team for working hard in that moment, you know, not folding and not going into their shell. More importantly, I think against not so much Brighton, but Bournemouth, we definitely went into our shell after the red card. It was nice to see we didn't dare. Arteta took his time and, you know, made the decision at halftime on what he wanted to do. And the two headlines for me is probably Havertz lucky man and Calafiori beauty. That's probably the two headlines that come out of that game for me, because as much as that red card came, we should have been 1 or 2 up before that. But I'll focus on what happened after it, because it didn't cost us. And Calafiori, I think he's got 2 of our best finishes this season outside of Saka. I can't think of many better finishes than the one against City and the one yesterday. When you really think about it, beautiful. I don't even think any of our attackers running onto that I'd be confident, but he kept it controlled, low, sweet, accurate, got over the ball. What a finish from him. I mean, very different to the Man City goal, but what a finish. And it won us the game.
Yeah, incredible.
Jordan, you're muted.
Sorry. I was saying, I don't know if it was on this podcast or another one. After the City game, I remember saying that I bet somebody he scores a better goal than the City one this season. You can just see he's got that sort of finish. I don't think this one was as good as the City one, but it's a really good finish. Kept it low. Is it a half? Did it bounce slightly? Is it a half volley, or did he hit it on the actual volley? I think it's a half volley.
But you have to get over it. It's difficult.
Yeah, that's not an easy technique to do. And yeah, he's quality. I've got question marks about defensively, left back. I don't think he's our best left back, but I think he's a good defender. But on the ball, he's clearly quality. I wanted to make a point about the significance of this win, because you guys know my thoughts on the title race and who will win the league this year, right? But if I'm Martin Odegaard, I'm calling, if let's say training on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, I'm putting in the WhatsApp group, lads, I need you all there at 8. We're gonna have a meeting, because whilst I think the title will be Liverpool's, this is an opportunity, and I think Lee mentioned it at the start of the pod, for the group to really galvanize themselves and decide, you know what, the season starts here. The season starts from now. We win every single game from now until the end of the season. Yeah, I don't care that Saka's out. I don't care that Jesus is out. I don't care when Ben White is returning. As a group, we are going to, as a collective, drive this season. And it starts at, I know we've got a game in midweek, but it starts against Man City next weekend, right? And we're going to push Liverpool all the way. This Liverpool team are not a great team. They're efficient and they'll be worthy champions if they win it. But they're not a great team. But there's 2 things for me that will make Liverpool lose this title.
They've got great players, though.
Key injuries.
They've got great players, though.
They do, but one would be key injuries. But the second thing is pressure. Arsenal, if we finish second, we finish second. But from here on in, we have to apply pressure. This game has to be a turning point in terms of a galvanizing of us as a collective, deciding we are going to push Liverpool all the way. One of the things I was most proud about Arsenal last season, guys, was the disappointment of losing to Villa was strong. But we pushed City all the way. And again, if we don't finish the league on top this season, push Liverpool, or don't let them off the hook. I think Liverpool beat Everton because they're better than Everton. But we need to make sure that if Everton gets something from that match, it matters. Get to the Anfield game, us and Liverpool, and the title is still up for grabs. And you know, I hate looking too far ahead, but they need to really, as a group, the senior players, to come together and say, listen, we're not letting this go. We are not letting this go. And if we win the league in May, we look back and the Wolves game was a turning point. I really believe that if these guys step it up now and really as a collective squeeze every last drop they have, they can, what is it? It's 6 points plus a game in hand. That for me is quite big, but it's not insurmountable. They have to come together and decide we are not letting Liverpool off the hook. This can't be a procession. Push them all the way, because they're not great. They're not great, Liverpool.
They should do that, but I think it's Arteta that needs to call the Kroenkes and Tim Lewis into a room first before Odegaard calls the players into a room.
We're not
because
buying
there's only
anyone,
so much there.
We're
But that's it then.
anyone.
That's it. Forget the galvanization and forget
out.
this on the stadium and forget the huddles. We're not equipped. You know, we can say Liverpool are we're not equipped. And
Yeah,
Arteta, his tone has changed since United, and I'm glad it has changed. But at the same time, is it you that want this specific player and won't leave that specific player, or is it something had to have been done this month? I can believe it, but surely, you know, the consensus now is we can't believe we are this much into January and we're not even close. You see Marmoush start for City yesterday, and he shows things. There's a renewed little bit of energy there. Like, this club has it's either the club has failed Mikel. I mean, the club's failed the fans in terms of giving, you know, us a bit of a buzz going into the season properly, and then the January window. Now Arteta's comments about, you know, and then, to be honest with you, I think, you know, Arteta was a bit cheeky to be like, you know, he's shocked that, acting like, you know, the journalist was wrong to say, you don't want a striker, because for the first 2 weeks of the window, Arteta did insinuate that he challenged Charles Wood and said we scored the most goals in 2024. So, you know, a week later to be like, I didn't say that. Come on, brother. Yeah, I like the tone change, but let's not do that. Yeah, because that shows a different characteristic. Yeah, that's a bit of another ego thing. Be on that energy. James, you're laughing because it's true.
It's
And
the
the
way
guy
you
was
went.
like, like, how can you say that? Because you just challenged Charles Watts last week and said 2024 we've scored the most goals. The guys, but I like that he's changed his tone.
It's a real swing in tone, though. You're right.
Ownership, you know, because people after the United game a week later call me a flip-flop, right? But if your opinions don't change on the facts unfolding in front of you, I'm vexed with Mikel when he's talking about internal solutions. But when he's talking about we need a striker, I'm not going to be vexed with him because he's actually talking facts there. And that tone change came within 2 days. So is Arteta a flip-flop as well? It must be, right? So I'm feeding off that now, and I'm saying, all right, Mikel, you're putting pressure on them now. You also did sign your contract, so that doesn't mean it's completely out your hands. But with 5-6 days left now, Jordan, I'm with you. The players need to believe they can. They need to get together, go for a dinner, go bowling or something. I don't know. Do something.
Yeah. No. This is the reason why I excluded Arteta, because I think Arteta and the board and the recruitment is a separate thing, and I've mentally blocked that out. We ain't buying no one. So I'm just saying the players need to come together and say, as a group of players, this is what we have. And from here to the end of the season, we fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight.
It looks more likely we're going to go lighter with Zinchenko going Dortmund, isn't it?
The thing is, guys, is yesterday, like, is if Arsenal Football Club and the board really care, they look at that game and just go, do you know what? Let's try and get these players what they deserve.
You're giving them benefit of doubt because they
I'm not
giving
benefit of doubt. I'm just looking at I'm
United.
looking at the game yesterday. Let's be realistic about this game yesterday, right? You're going into the January transfer window, yeah, and towards the back end of it without your best player, right? You without your captain, you without one of your best defenders in Ben White, right? You have a player sent off in the first half, and those players come out and win that game of football. That tells me that they're not giving up on it. They're telling me that, you know, and I'll tell you what, I have given up on Arsenal winning the title this season because we're not buying anybody. I don't think that we can win anything this season. I've said that because of what I see. But those players changed my mind yesterday. I come out of that ground yesterday and thinking, do you know what? They're not giving up. And they've got more of a right to give up than I ever have, because they're playing the game that it's they're the ones that got the medals and whatever. They're not giving up. They could have easily have thrown in the towel yesterday and said, what's the point? We ain't got a striker. Our best player's gone down. With that was an excuse to say, do you know what? We can't win the league with the refereeing decisions and whatever. They could have hid behind a lot of things yesterday, but they didn't. They come out there, and I see players like Declan Rice come out yesterday and be the leader without the armband. A person that I would, if he said to me, we're going into battle at my age, I'd follow him. You know, as a young 24-year-old, 25-year-old, whatever, he come out there and got exactly what every single fan felt yesterday. We have been cheated, but we're not going to be cheated. We are going to make this happen. We're going to make it work, and we're going to win this game. Now, people like him, people like Martinelli, who I thought done okay yesterday, better than what I thought when I've watched the highlights back, worked hard. They're all put in a shift yesterday, and they deserve to have the opportunity to win this league. We've taken, that's been stripped with us because of the injuries, stripped. You have a chance to do it. I don't know if we will, Jordan. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. We're not. If we're betting people, I don't know if we are and we're not. We're not putting our mortgages on that Arsenal going to go and get what we think that they should get. And it's a shame. It is a shame. But yesterday, I whether we win this league or not, I'm just going to back the team because that yesterday galvanised me because the players showed me yesterday that they ain't giving up.
Considering time, 10 minutes to go, let's keep it moving. I think we've covered pretty much everything we need to cover from the game. Maybe spent a bit too much time on the refs, but at the same time, Lee's right. You know, when you win, I think it's more important to talk about them because then it can't be dismissed as, oh, you just, you know, you're moaning, and it is what it is. We are moaning, but we got 3 points as well. Girona, I mean, Champions League, top 8, 30. The higher up you finish does have an impact on your route, but at the same time, it's been mentioned that, you know, the top 8 could potentially play Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Man City, all, you know, looking to finish in 9th to 24th to go through the extra qualification places. But Girona, they're already out of it, so it's a team that's already through against a team that's already out. Girona, to be honest, I should have checked where they are in their league or what they're fighting for, but I guess this ain't a game for them that they're going to take serious. So it's a game that we should be looking at for a W, or is it a chance for rotation with the bare thin squad we have already? I don't know. It's one of the few throwaway games we have left this season. It is the last one, unless the league goes soon after.
I was gonna, we've got to move on quickly, but I was gonna ask you guys: would you go strong to try and get ready, battle ready for the City game, or would you use this as a chance, as you said, Turkish, to try to just give a few pieces of rest and just take a couple of key players out ahead of the City game? Some players have been playing a lot of football, like Havertz played a lot of football recently. Do you take out some of these players and just give them a little breather, or do you say no, we need to win this game, let's get some momentum going, the result matters?
Coupled up with what you said before, which I agree with, the players should talk and think we've got an opportunity here. I think it's good to be fit and ready for the Man City game. If you have that meeting and you can have a break midweek, and, you know, you're looking at that Man City game as, you know, look, we lose this one, we know that how the season's looking. We win it, the hope continues, or the little glimmer, the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever. So I think if you can rotate as much as you can in smart fashion. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees.
Yeah, I think make a couple of changes for this game. I think you got to think that maybe they will as well, Girona. I don't know. You know, they're at home, so they're not going to be playing Champions League football next season, so they might want to go out on a high playing Champions League. I don't really know on this one. Really, it's difficult to say. If I'd be really honest about it, what's the most important game? I think their next 2 games after this one are, you know what I mean, away to Newcastle in the Cup, and of course this one. So I think, like, you know, surprised that Saliba come back in this one. Like, I would leave him out, make sure that he's ready for that game, even though he played on the weekend. 1 or 2 I would take in there. Odegaard hopefully will be, and Marino be fit if they are, get them some minutes and all that. Like, I agree with Jordan. I'd take Havertz out the firing line. I really would now. I would go with Martinelli down the middle, see what we can do. That just experiment a little bit, see if we can get the result with making a few changes. Wanyeri only had like 45 minutes yesterday through circumstances, so maybe a position for him to play on the right. I'd give Sterling a run out, and hopefully get the result. But as I say, I think win guarantees us third. I don't know if that's going to be brilliant or not. Like, you know, we're virtually there, so I don't know really how to really take this one. Really, like, you know, I suppose you want to keep winning, keep the momentum going. But I don't know about you, but I've certainly really got one eye now on Sunday, because City are coming strong. and they need to be derailed.
Yep. And they're going to be trying to derail ours or completely throw it off track.
Yeah.
Here's how the table's looking with James's 3 points. It's brought him a point closer to Jordan at the top. For audio purposes, Jordan's top 36 points. James is second on 35 points. I'm on 27 and Lee's on 26. And as you can see, the charges have been taken off, Lee. So, that was a gripe of yours.
Hang on a minute. Lee, are you hearing this?
The man's just insane. The man is insane. I just don't know how,
And he has the
how he got
brass
the job of being leader. I don't know, you know what I mean? And just rule bender, rule breaker, rule whatever. I don't really know, but he has Jordan,
James has got to go, so we'll keep moving. But I got a lot to say on this corruption. There's corruption here. Yeah.
Jordan, I should dock you points for being the only one that's not in front of the camera. That's what I should do. And you're there talking about you're like this. So for the thumbnails, you've even made it harder for me. You're just there looking here the whole time. And you have the cheek to talk about docked points. Nah, James, you're top. James is on 35. Jordan's on 34, man. Fuck that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna change this.
James, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Turkish. I'll be round to do your hoovering later. I'm doing your garden later on after that. And when do you want? What time do you want me to come and wash your car? You know what I mean?
Hey, James ain't done nothing. He ain't said nothing. Why are you getting onto him? He's just quietly chilling there, waiting for his football. Hey, leave the guy alone, man. Hey.
That's all right. You can come and stay around my house anytime you like. You know what I mean? Yeah.
7 correct scores though, Lee. I mean, you're only on 2.
I know. Like, listen, it's been I've tactically got it wrong. I'm you watch me now move up this table, you watch.
You watch. Jordan, kick us off. Girona, Arsenal.
All right.
Wednesday night.
It's away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
I'm gonna go 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal, James.
1-1.
1-1. I'm gonna go 2-0. Listen to what your mate said.
2-0. Yeah, I'm going it like that's what I was going. 2-0 to the Arsenal, so I'm going for it.
Yes, that's another week I'm not at the bottom then. Get in, people. Copy me the whole way, Lee. We'll get far, I'm telling you.
Oh, dear. I was just going to go completely against it there and go 1-0. But now I'm going to stick with what I feel.
Jordan's gone 3-1. James has gone 1-1. Me and Lee have gone 2-0 to the Arsenal. Let us know yours in the comment section below. Talking about the comment section, everyone got a comment of the day ready?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll go first. But I want some Sam. It says everyone's giving Turkish a hard time about his camera being off. Let's be honest, he's not going to roll a spliff on camera. Be real.
Wow. Niches.
How long was the pod?
Sam knows me well. He knows me well.
It's
hour, 2 minutes.
I've got to change my one now because it was obviously about the camera. So I've got Harry HD. I really like this podcast. It's one of the best. That's a comment for you, Lee, to make.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
You've got a whole little army doing some shit.
I got some good guys behind me, but obviously it was the comments of the non-camera.
One person actually said, "Good luck on your hair transplant." One person in the comments. I was trying to find it now. I didn't screenshot it, but one person actually said it. I thought, shit. I started looking around me in Istanbul, thinking, "What's going on, bro?"
I got this.
Harry's the old bar on it anyway. Is he all right?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
That's good.
The exclusive is on my channel for that one, so I'm gonna keep that fresh for that a few days, and then on Fourever it'll be out next time.
Rightly so. I got this from Chris Drill. Says James, absolutely no problem how you watch Arsenal having dinner or exercising. Lee, you're entitled to your own way of watching the games. Turkish, feel free to watch Arsenal in your own time. Jordan, unacceptable that you don't watch Arsenal games while they're happening live. Love the pod. Keep up the good work.
I was at the game. I was at the match.
I saw another one that said something like, I'm paraphrasing, something like, it's a real shame that Jordan actually watches games now. It was something like that. I can't,
Yeah, I saw
was
that.
it was good.
These people are cheeky. Two quick ones. I got whoever is farting needs to stop.
Yeah, that bit did sound like a fart, though. I can't lie. I didn't hear it when we was watching it, but when I go back to that bit, it sounds a bit squidgy.
Oh, I need to find that. When was that?
I tell you what, it could be my chair, you know, because it is a bit squeaky, this chair.
I've
I think it's
got
my chair.
I've got a leather chair too, and I did a match report on the Gooniverse. And this was after Villa, and as I was recording it, I moved. But as I was recording, I thought that might have sounded a bit nuts. But I was in a rush, I got it out, and someone put in the comments
it.
like 13 minutes in. So we're just gonna ignore the way he shit his pants 30 minutes
on the
in.
set.
It was really funny. I'll go find it. Yeah,
I've got one final one that made me laugh. Can't believe Jordan just made me Google Julian Smith, West Brom set piece coach. I really and reel through a few names before realizing.
Oh dear.
I can't lie. You know what? There was a lot of AI Turkish ones as well. Someone said that sounded like Cecil doing Turkish impression, and for some reason, there's a lot of people saying it's James and 3 others. I should have got one of them because there's a few funny ones. I didn't notice James. Does James talk a lot in this pod?
I got.
No, the last two he has a lot. He's interrupted me a lot on the last two.
He said, "Yeah, the last two."
Yeah.
But I love him still, so it's fine. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
I've never noticed, you know. I've never noticed.
The community are pissed. I'm just saying they are pissed, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Some people were saying in the comments like, James, you need to stop apologizing, and I kind of hear what they say. Like maybe I've sort of tried to, I don't know, pad my criticism. The one thing that I'll always say though, people, is I'm literally criticizing people for not being better at something that I can't do. Not, to 0.01% of their level. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think Turkish and Lee, you can probably relate. Like, when you're on tour, for example, and you kind of see these people in front of you, it does humanize them a bit. So when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking Kai Havertz is playing shit, it's just only so far I can go in my critique. Because I promise you, when he's in front of me, which isn't a regular occurrence, but I'm not looking at him going, mate, I think you're shit. I'm going to have a big season, mate. Good luck. And I think there's just an element of, I couldn't lace their boots.
That's
me calling Havertz shit. Well, what am I? So there is always that element of, let's just also appreciate where we stand when we're giving criticism. And I think sometimes that's lost. Sometimes be critical, and of course we're talking about a certain level, and we're judging them by that. But I will always kind of keep that in mind. Like, who am I to a degree to Kai Havertz?
James, it's a great point. And you do judge them by their level. You know
do.
What I mean? Like, that's what you do. He's at the top level, and you're judging him by that. Like, if he played at our standard, it'd be like, like non-league, and it'd be unbelievable. But he's not. He's at a level, and that's the way you do it. Like, and you're judging him at that level.
Yeah, but I'm also conscious of, who I am to a Kai Havertz or whoever I'm criticising. And I personally think every football fan should be like that, but that's just me. That's right.
On that note, that sounded like something people needed to hear. Hit the like button, people.
Not really. I
didn't get it, but yeah.
It's early, isn't it? Like, it's early.
Like, yo, strike that ball cleanly, son. What the hell are you doing? I can't play, but you bloody get paid 275k.
That's fine, but who am I to say go, oh, he's shit. He,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a, but anyway.
You're too nice, James. You're too nice.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be that.
Let's hope you do well today. Don't be shit. All right.
Wish me luck.
Well, wish you luck.
Good luck, James. James, Lee, Jordan, as always, love for the love. People, as always, love for the love. Hit that like button. Let's make sure we get to 1,000 likes. Make sure you are subscribed. We will be back after Girona. And yeah, we'll be back after Girona. That's Wednesday night. So we'll be back Thursday. So make sure you're here Thursday, people. Love for the love. We are out. Peace.